there's so many people who attach Benjamin Bol Mel to the ongoing trial of Machar. Has been seen as one of the champions, one of the guys who pushed for this trial to happen. So one of the things that maybe we should look out is that we are likely to see a shift in how the trial is going to end, or how it's going to run, or the end results of it, or the verdict that is going to be issued by the court probably might reflect the results of what happened last night. So this is what we should be on the lookout. But also, as I said before, we are likely to see new faces coming out maybe tomorrow, or in the next few weeks on the presidency itself. We're likely to see a new vice president coming into the presidency, and that, as I said, could be the daughter of the president, or James Wani Iga. These are some few things that should get to look out.
Right. Amazing. Any final thoughts as we wrap up?
I mean, final thoughts to South Sudanese. I think there's no reason to panic. These are things that happen often in by any government. These are things that happen. Only the difference is that ours happen so frequently, and it's because of how Kiir wants to actually try to extend his political lifespan. That's the reason why he's issuing it so frequently. But it's a kind of normal thing that happens in every government, that people get to be removed and new faces brought in any government. So what happened last night is not exceptional. It's a very common practice in politics that happens across the world. And that if you are one person who tried to sabotage the plan of a president, if you're someone who poses a threat to him and you wants to be disloyal, that's obviously what you face. You face the wrath of his power. And that's what exactly happened last night to Dr. Benjamin Bol Mel from the presidency, or from the president of the Republic of South Sudan, Salva Kiir Mayardit. Yeah. It's a very common practice in politics. And one thing you must know is that politics is always ruthless. There's nothing to be in politics. You are not in daycare where you need to be babysitted. There's nothing about that. Politics is always ruthless. Politics is always a game of monster. Politics is always an evil game. And if you desire to be in politics, you must be ready to face all the bad things that comes along with it. And yeah, that is politics. Yeah.
So, following up on what you just said, is that these frequent dismissals that we are seeing are basically an effort by the President Kiir to consolidate power and hold on to.
I rightfully think so, because here is one guy who is a seasoned military uh, person. He learned through the liberation time of how impactful an army is. He knows how alliances, when built, can easily crash down establishments. He learned how in 2021, or even in before that, when how the government of Omar Hassan and Bashir was brought down by an army general who was serving in the Sudan Armed Forces and later turned against the president and brought him down. He might have learned a lesson from how Milton Obote of Uganda was brought down by President Museveni. He learned the history of how Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was brought down by a guy who served him as a very close person. Kiir understands very well that in a country such as South Sudan, power sometimes does not only sits with the presidency, it sits in the army barracks with the generals, it sits with these cabinet members who sometimes pretends to be your close ally, and that if you try to give them the freedom and the time in a country like South Sudan, where people, there's a kind of confusion within the political elites itself, where people have loyalties paid to different people. So if you try to keep some kind of stability in the cabinet or in the military, then you are giving yourself a time for these guys to develop a network and then try to topple your government. So I think what he is doing is that by issuing these frequent reshuffles and cabinet and sacking and rehiring, is that he is trying to destroy some potential plots that might be coming against his government. And I think that is what exactly he is doing. And I think I'm giving it to him. This is what exactly he is doing. He's trying to break this potential maybe plots that might be planned by these generals. That's why in less than 1 year we have seen more than 3 chief of defense forces. The mighty that these guys have. They have the ability to crush down establishment, governments, arrest them, bring them down, and that's what he is doing exactly. Yeah,
To make sure he keeps only those who
those
are
who are loyal.
loyal to
Yeah,
him.
not necessarily those who are loyal. You can bring in someone who is not loyal to you, but that you don't just have to give them enough time to maybe plan something against you. In the process, you make them short so that when they are planning it, you distract them, take out the powers from them, so they know, oh, this has finally is not going to come into reality because it's crashed down in the process. So I think that is what he is doing, and that's what he has been doing, and I think that is what he will continue to do. Yeah, and the moment you see he gives. I mean, I wrote something about this, that by the time Kiir gives like 1 year without doing any cabinet reshuffle or any reshuffle in the military, you will soon see his government taken to an ICU. He will never survive. His government will definitely come to an end. Because you can easily see the dissatisfaction of the people, the political elite. You can see the dissatisfaction of the army. This is an army that is not paid for many months, not fed, their families are going through so much, and then coupled with a population that is really dissatisfied, like the one in South Sudan. So when you let all these factors to come together and network and give them these people to be led by a wrong person at the right time, so your government can easily come to an end in a blink of an eye, in a very short time, if you're not serious. And I think he understands the mighty of the military. That's why he doesn't want to give them that peace to mobilize, to build network and alliances that might pose a threat to his government. Yeah.
Interesting. And also, there is this conspiracy online that you see right now. The South Sudanese soldiers haven't been paid for some even close to now a year. They haven't received any money or salary, and yet their salaries are like about $10. And there's this conspiracy that when Bol Mel took office, he brought in the UPDF, who are paid $500 a month.
Right. I also read that. I read about that. But yeah, that's not it's not strange. I mean, it's possible that could be true, and I think the reason is one, is that the reason why that might be true is because one, Mel with together with Kiir were trying to defend. When we look at the situation under which the UPDF was brought in South Sudan, was when there was an issue happening in the northern parts of the country in Nasir, where we had the armed militia group in the name of White Army, wanted to engage the government in some kind of war. So this is a country that has an army that is not motivated. This is a country that is under sanctions, I think arms embargo. So you don't have the ability to go and purchase arms to give to the army to go and fight these armed militia group who might be posing a threat to your government. So what are you left with? You're left with no option but to go and import an army, a foreign army, to come and defend your government. And the cost that comes with that, you're ready to always bear it. And I think that is what they were ready to do, to defend their government, pay much money as demanded by Muhozi or President Museveni to their soldiers, but at the uh, assurance that they are going to protect their government. And that happens. That is not a surprise. That can easily happen, given that the army of the country is it's I will say it's ill trained. I mean, it's incapable of handling an internal militia group in the names of White Army. That clearly tells us how weak the army is. And when you have a weak army, of course, that cannot defend your government, you're left with no options but to go and import one that can easily protect your government. And that's why they went for the UPDF, I guess.